Well, hello, good morning to everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Uh, Today is Labor Day, September 5th, 2022. I'm Pastor Woods here at Grace Lutheran Church in New Albany, Indiana, and this is the weekly devotion. So let's get started. The title for today is Quiet Faithfulness. So let me start off by saying Happy Labor Day to everybody. And because it's Labor Day Monday, I thought I'd let you into my mind, see in my mind today on a topic that affects labor. A trend has taken hold of the work world, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I think about it a lot because I also think it has spiritual implications to it. It's termed quiet quitting. A final definition of quiet quitting seems to remain still in some fluid motion in a process of refinement. But in general, however, it seems to refer to a pullback from beyond what one is required to do the bare minimum, some would say, to get by and what you're paid to do. Work to live, but not live to work. A lot of these kind of things. Mike Rowe, and he's the host of Dirty Jobs, did an interview with Brian Kilmeade reacting to quiet quitting. His basic conclusion was that jobs have become too much associated with drudgery, with something negative. Job satisfaction, he says, has a lot more to do with the person, though, than the job. Two people may work the same job. One might find great satisfaction in it, and the other one might want out. Kim Kimbrough, a LinkedIn chief economist, was interviewed on 60 Minutes on the topic. She related that we're living in the highest quit rate in history, most of which are in education, healthcare, hotel and restaurants, construction, retail, jobs that deal a lot with public mainly. Moms with children are basically likely to quit or insist on working from home, especially since COVID. In fact, those working from home are now the statistics are amazing. They've gone from 1 in 76 people before COVID to now after COVID being 1 in 7 people working from home. That's a huge jump. And today, companies are learning that they have to offer sign-on bonuses and flexible hours. Companies are beginning to realize that they're going to have to be more flexible and work with employees' needs and lifestyles a little bit more. Now, I've also seen all of this in southern Indiana here. Working from home during COVID really seems to have brought us all a lot of things to the surface, bubbled up. You see, at home, I have a lot more control. I can dress how I want. I don't have to fight traffic, which means I'm not wasting a couple hours a day that I'm not paid for anyway. I can throw a load of laundry in at a stopping point and touch up the house. I can eat lunch without having to pack it up and use plastic bags and ice packs and those kind of things. I can put kids on the bus without worrying about who's going to put them on. I can be home to pick them back off the bus, and I don't have to get a babysitter. It kind of makes sense. I can work. I can work through lunch, or I can take a break. At least that's the idea. But I always have a little more control over the circumstance. It's sort of people where their mindset is today. They want a little more say about their work environment and some of their hours. Some of the posts reacting to Mike Rowe's comments and others on different places online, a lot of those posts are emotional, very emotional. In general, they feel that companies have stopped appreciating the worker. Salaries mean too much overtime. Layoffs lead to what one of them termed quiet promotions, meaning 3 people get laid off, but one person gets the responsibility of those 3 people without any kind of increase in income. Or a worker of 20 years has worked up to a certain salary and then learns that a new hire is hired on at the same salary equivalent to that 20 years of effort. Or a worker gets overlooked for a promotion because they are currently needed in their current position. In the end, there is a feeling out there that loyalty is not getting rewarded, so people are quietly quitting. They're laying low. Now, I've heard many opinions on this topic, but some initial observations that I have come to that move me to think about some basic things. I think that are reasonable beginnings as I'm processing all of this. First, more than being paid, people want to be valued. If one is to invest in a job or a company, one also wants to know that their work matters to the company, that they as a person, that means more than the bottom line. Being a person means more than the bottom line. In a basic human sense, we want to count for something in the eyes of those we're working for, and it shows itself, in things like promotions and income increases. Secondly, people want to know they want to know that what they're doing is taking them somewhere. When people think of a job in America, it's typically going to aim for moving up the ladder in some way in the form of promotions or vacation time, better benefits, more pay, and things like that. People are usually looking to move up in some form to improve and increase their value or um, their place in the company. And finally, they want their employers to be invested in them as a person with families, with dreams, with desires and goals. People are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. That's not all they want to be. And they want to benefit from a community, the community at work, and to recognize that their job, their employer is a part of that community as well and should be respectful for that community, the people in that community. So I think these are all ideas that have kind of bubbled up to the surface and I think are worthy of our attention in this discussion. This is the part that I think I get, and these are all important ideas. However, here's the other side that is a little problematic for me, and it creates some tension in my head. Anger, it's not good to live with anger. It's not good to be angry. Anger brings a lot of trouble and unhappiness to you and the household. Anger is acid to the soul. Anger is a thief that'll steal your peace. Anger is usually not healthy to maintain. So it is not good to be passive aggressive with our employer or with anybody in a marriage or otherwise. And that seems to be what quiet quitting is. Passive aggressive is not assertive and it's not really constructive. It is a form of practiced anger. It may work to manipulate, but generally it doesn't achieve any long-term solutions for peace, at least in practice in real life. A long-term solution, if they're needed, well, maybe, if a long-term solution is needed, some change might be necessary. It might be time for change. If our job steals more peace than it gives, it may be time for that change. And for those of us who've been invested somewhere for a long time, that could be a very difficult thing because we know it means starting over with vacation time and with maybe benefits of different kinds. And that's not easy either, especially if we're older. Since most of us work most of our lives somewhere, it is better to keep in mind a few important scriptural truths too. Because as Christians, we should never dismiss those things, but make them a part of our mindset and decision making in our work life. First, work is not a punishment. It's laboring the Lord is something that's been around since the garden. Ecclesiastes 2:24 speaks of it as an opportunity to find satisfaction. I did this. Look at the blessings that I've gained, the knowledge that I've gained from this. Start by acknowledging your own work and your personal progress through what you've learned in the years. It's work is a benefit to us in one form or another. Second, work is as much to honor our family and the Lord as it is ourselves. Work is honorable. Whatever you do, whatever work you accomplish, do it all to the glory of God. That's what we are told. All the scriptures speak of workers' spirits and attitudes doing what is within our ability to do in order to maintain our personal integrity. See, that's the key point. Am I maintaining personal integrity by being a passive aggressive or even hateful? That's not; those aren't compatible. As one recently quoted, we may not win every battle, we may not win the war, but we at least can live as though we deserve to win. That's something I heard recently on the radio. I like that. On the other hand, let's not forget the employer. Even Jesus says the worker deserves his wages, Luke 10:7. And Colossians 4:1 also refers to employers treating their worker with what is right and fair because our Master in heaven, Jesus, keeps watch. All employers and people of authority will stand to give an account before the Lord. That's Philippians 2. But we also learn, like in places like Philemon, that it's important to receive one another as persons, to treat one another with respect to the person. So it is not lost on me that employees that it's important to celebrate the worker once in a while, to give thanks for them, to appreciate their loyalty, and to express some gratitude for what they do. Because honestly, without the employees, these companies don't last. They need workers, and employers need one another. One of the most important things, though, that I don't want it to be lost, probably the most important thought today, is the quiet faithfulness of Jesus, which is where I got my title today. Because no one has labored more than our Lord Jesus Christ. No one was more mistreated, unjustly convicted, or suffered more at the hands of greedy, sinful, ambitious men than Jesus did. He was not treated fairly, but looked upon as a criminal. Yet he went to the cross, laboring for every breath. He bled and died on that cross. And as Christians, our greatest reason for laboring in the world is knowing that Jesus has labored for us. And so we are called as Christians even to a quiet faithfulness as well. In other words, it should always underline everything we do. It should be permeating into our work. So we'll end with the words today that are familiar to us from 1 Corinthians 15:58. Therefore, my dear brothers, stand firm, let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. Your work, whatever it is, whatever your context, when done to the glory of God, is never trivial and it's never wasted, especially when it's applied in faith. And from my point of view, that's the best place to start. So I hope you'll consider this. I'll take any angle in the conversation. I'm always willing to talk about this, but I do think it's an important topic. Yeah, it needs to be discussed, and I hope some good comes from it. But in the meantime, may the Lord bless you first and foremost with faith and wisdom from that Word of God. May it shape your life more than all of the stuff that goes on in the work world. And so may this bless you today. I hope it has, and I pray that it does. In the meantime, the Lord bless you and keep you, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks for your time and for your attention. Take care now. Bye-bye.